These are necessary, and that God's call is that people should not go hungry. That God is a God of abundance. Okay, so you see, so I want to go through some of these criteria here. It also talks about the one holy apostolic.
Jason, you can join the Young Republicans.
No, you can't.
Okay.
You really can't.
The commitments is, in light of these affirmations, so that the whole first thing is, we affirm a lot of things about God and God's creation, our place in it, the place of government in it. Deliberations should include people with different experiences, perspectives, and interests. This says we celebrate the diversity of ideas and cultures.
Kind of like this class.
Yeah. As far as possible, people that included should be those who feel and suffer with the issue. Okay? Not everybody is an immigrant and suffers with what it meant to try to get into this country, hoping for a better life. Okay? Not everybody is in another country wanting to get in, and the quotas have been changed. Okay, so you've got to get somebody that's lived it, because you need that voice.
We need to hear their feelings.
Yes. Those whose interests or security are at stake.
That's the other side of that same coin.
And that's the other side of the same coin. Right? Pastors, bishops, theologians, ethicists, just people that are informed, teachers of the church, as well as experts in the sciences and stuff like that. So that's why you see a lot of stuff, like when you look at the genetics statement, you've got bioethicists, you've got medical people, you've got theologians, you've got biblical scholars, all putting in something, adding something to the affirmations, okay? In light of these affirmations, the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America makes the following commitments to sustain and support its members in their baptismal vocation, which is to serve God and neighbor in daily life. So, to foster faith that's active in love, to support members in the call to love neighbor, mend creation, advocate for justice and mercy through institutional expressions.
Mercy, that was the term I was looking for. Mercy was the term I was looking for.
Okay.
Justice seemed incomplete. That was.
Justice and mercy, right. Join with others to remove obstacles that are discriminatory. Promote sound, critical, and creative citizenship in public service. Okay, so it's perfectly okay to talk about what it means to be a good citizen as a Lutheran. Work to further democratic processes, and you mentioned that, Ron mentioned that. Encourage citizen members, encourage members of the church as citizens to engage in public debate. So it's not like just sit back and don't do it. Because if we don't engage in public debate, our voice is not heard. And we are not able to bring the voice and our proclamation of the good news in Christ to bear on the issues.
Yeah, I think, and that's been missing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's almost like we just take a back seat, like, okay.
So it's silent majority thing.
The silent majority, but I mean, and that's the moral majority, and it's like, okay, the moral majority, wait a minute, the moral majority says this is the Christian view. And I'm like, you know what, I'm Christian and I don't agree with that. Well, have I said anything?
Nope.
Hello. But that's true, If we don't add our voice.
No one hears us.
That's right. Also, as an institution, to adopt institutional policies and practices that model Christ's calls and our beliefs and our values. So as an institution, the ELCA says that its own policies are going to model the incarnation. Do we do it perfectly? No, we don't. Because sin's just a part of it. Support educational and social ministry organizations. Encourage all the expressions of the church. Do you know what I mean by the expressions of the church? For the ELCA, it's the local congregation, the synods, and then the national church. So those are the three primary expressions of the church in the ELCA. And part of the commitment of the institutional church is to help all three expressions be involved in ministries, justice ministries, as well as ministries of mercy and charity. Okay? Develop these statements. The church is committed to developing these kinds of statements to help people think things through. Okay? So, you know, those are the kinds of guidelines that are listed here. So what do you think? Do you think this is deontological, teleological, or value-oriented in terms of its approach?
Yes.
Given there's so much about education, it sounds a lot value-oriented. Right?
Yeah.
There's so much about growing the members' faith, about educating and improving them. All that sounds value-oriented to me.
There is a lot of that in there, yes. In what way? What are the characteristics that we bring as Christians? What are the values? So yes, there's a lot of that. The different other social statements have a different approach as well. But yes, this sets out how do our values influence what we believe first, but what we say, do, vote for, that kind of. Does that make sense?
I think it's a little deontological as well.
In what way?
Rights and duties.
Yeah. It just seems too wishy-washy
No.
for a lot of the.
Well, no, I have that
Well,
in
that
how
was
you
my
get
first
there. It's not
critiques of
really
social
saying.
statements as they're all, but they're not meant to tell us what to think.
They're more like a guideline now.
I have learned that our social statements are not designed to tell us what to think, but to give us guidelines and help us to
I
think.
can't hear that word.
Although that one has a couple.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Genetics has
It
two,
takes a
which
stand on two.
thou shalt not.
But if you do, you love me anyway.
Yeah, but even if you do, right? Okay. But, okay, this one is very different in that it is a foundational document designed to help us have some criteria that we can look at and that, you know, to kind of lay out what are the affirming values that we have that would help us engage society. Okay, does that make sense?
Yep.
Yep.